What's happening? What's happening? It's Irv from Irv and Co. We about to go into Flaco's community gym and get that interview and throw a couple punches. Come check us out as we go on in. Irv and Co. If you're looking for a podcast, here you go. Irv and Co. Irv and Co. If you're looking for a podcast, here you go. Go, 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 go. Yo. What it do, what it is, what it ain't, what it is. This your boy Irv. Say what's happening to the people, man.
Hey, everybody.
I know y'all ain't ready to see this, though. We got our boy Flaco. We up here in FCG Gym. I'm talking about this dude right here, though. When I first met this dude, he had so many jokes. I'm thinking, all right, he cool with me. I'm thinking he gonna be like this with me. Now this dude like this with everybody. I mean, he know everybody's name. He got stories to everybody. Like, this is a real personal dude. And I'm talking about in the gym, though. If you don't come in there, or you don't leave out there sweating and out of breath, you ain't doing it right. So we had to come in here and holler at Flaco and see what's up to get y'all started for the new year. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everybody, too. We want to make sure that, you can hit us up with some new stuff or get you motivated to start this new year off right. So, no need to say anything less. What up, Flaco? What's going on?
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, everybody. I want to say thank you for Irv and Company having me on the set. It's pretty cool, man. I appreciate, like you said, I know everybody's name, so I appreciate the community coming through to support me, and I'm here to support the community at all time.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So, what really got you in the box? Now, I know, like, Flaco community gym. I know in Flaco ain't just walk into the gym. Like, what really got you in the box, and what got you in looking the gym up in Hollywood?
The Hollywood, man, God gave me my gym. First and foremost, I always say God gave it to me. My wife would turn back and say, "Oh, you did the work." But I always believe in energy. I don't care what name you give him, God, Allah, Yahweh, Jesus Christ, Jehovah. It doesn't matter. It's something greater than us that guides us to be good to one another. That's my belief, and I feel like God gave me my gym. But my boxing story, what got me into boxing, just starts like 19 years ago. So the Hollywood thing came about because just the property became available, and actually like the landlords met me and they were like, "Man, this is the spot for you. This is the spot for you. This is the spot for you." And I kept on asking for more. They kept giving it to. At some point, you can't block your blessings. You just like
Right.
I'm supposed to do this.
Yeah.
One of the things I think that separate me from everybody else is the fact that I came into the opening a boxing gym with the small business mentality, and I worked as a registered nurse. I haven't worked in a couple of years. God bless my gym. I'm a full-time entrepreneur, but I was pulling like 36-hour days, and it was only 24 a day. So I'd work in the gym in the morning. I'd take a quick little nap. I'd go to work at 7 o'clock at night, and I'd work till 7 in the morning, and I'd head back to the gym, and I'd teach in the morning and do a couple of private sessions and hit and clear it to my house. So like I was really like burning the candle at both ends.
That's for sure. I remember saying that back in the day. I remember saying like sleeping
Sleeping
in the car, sleeping on the desk.
Sleeping on the car, sleeping in the ring, and one of the things is like so many people, even some of my close friends who try to open businesses, come in with the millionaire mentality that they gonna come out the gates making money. And I was able to make money coming out the gates. Yes, this is true, but it wasn't enough to support me. So I had a full-time gig to support my own life, my mortgage, my house, my rent, my food, my kids, all of that stuff. My job supported that, and the business supported the business. And I was able to constantly reinvest in the business until the business was supported. It's like a fruit tree. You can plant a tree, but you ain't gonna bear no fruit for a couple of years. So that was a big thing to me. Some people, they want to make sure they're making money right off the gates. My short-term goal was to be 6 months into owning my business, I wanted to be out of the red and I wanted to be in the black. I didn't need to make money, so the terminology red and black is, if you're in the red, that's like you have debt. So I wanted to clear myself of any debt I have when I walked in. 6 months in, I wanted to be starting at zero. Yeah. And God bless through my own marketing, my own pushing, and a quality product. I was able to succeed. So that's kind of a long story short.
That's what's up. But tell me this. I heard you say this on many occasions that boxing is the best workout. Why do you feel like that?
Well, the thing is that over the years, I started my own journey into boxing when I was about 19, and boxing is, I would say, a 3-pronged attack at your own being, right? Because we do technical training, which is our boxing training. Then we do our cardio, which is our running, our road work, and then we do our strength and conditioning in some way, whether it be calisthenics, plyometrics, or weightlifting. So a boxer, a professional fighter, like a guy who's doing it, they're doing well, they're gonna do like 3 to 5 hours a day, every day doing that, right?
Crazy.
So that's my one thing, is just the quantity of your workout is one thing, and the other thing is my own experience training professional athletes, and I've had everything from NFL football players to Major League Baseball players to soccer players to basketball NBA players. I've trained pretty much all of it, and they all come back saying I've never had it. And it's also a mindset. When I work out, when I train, when I was fighting at the time, I was training. If you don't leave the gym like completely taxed, and I'm not like we were talking and we're laughing. It's like we train. The mentality is like we're training for somebody to try like physically kill us. So if we don't feel like we've trained to that point of like almost death, it's like we didn't even work out. So you can go to a weightlifting gym, you can work out till you can't lift no more in your chest, but as a fighter, you'll never feel fulfilled from that. It's like not enough, like I kick my head or something, like, because it's just that your body's not taxed enough. Your muscles are fatigued, but if you got a breath left in your body, a fighter's gonna try and fight. That's right.
When somebody like a celebrity or a particular customer came to your gym, it changed the whole entire outlook of what you had for your gym. It just took off.
Doesn't happen. Doesn't matter what celebrity we've shot. Love and Hip Hop, we've shot music videos, we've shot Netflix movies, and nobody will ever change the outlook of the gym. The gym is a community. At best, they will just belong to our community. At worst, they don't belong. And that's it. It doesn't matter how much or how little you make in this place. When you walk through those doors, you treat it just like everybody else. That's right. And nobody can change that. It starts within. Right. And that's it. And I don't charge celebrities or athletes or professional players any more or any less than anybody else. Just because you make more money doesn't mean I'm entitled to more of it. Everybody is treated the same. I want nothing more and nothing less. And that's it. So nobody can come in here and just change it. It doesn't belong to you.
Got it. And the benefits of your people coming in to the gym and having a full workout, how they feel afterwards.
You gotta ask somebody. So you gotta ask somebody that comes more than the person teaching it. Hopefully they feel good, and a better adjective might be they feel great, because I wanted to create something and a workout that is hard enough to push you, and doable for even your grandmother. So that it took me a lot of years to really fine tune that.
Right.
And I realized that I can do that. One, by creating an environment of safety, and like Irv mentioned, if you come into the gym, I can be a loud and boisterous figure in the gym, especially you walk in and my name is on the door, but I greet everybody when they come in, whether it's their first day or it's their 400th day. I have members at my gym from the very first day I opened. Actually, those members that I'm talking about were with me when I used to work at another gym for somebody else at somebody else's gym. I have members that stuck with me and behind me from before I owned my own gym. So you get that vibe of community, and that's why that's the reason why I named it Flaco's Community Gym, because that's just the energy that I've always created and I've always aspired to have. The we versus the you.
Yeah.
And to me that's like the cure for all cancers in the world. It's just like be kind to one another and support one another.
Yeah. That's definitely it. I must admit, when you come in the gym, it do feel like community. Like you said, it doesn't matter who's in there, like what celebrity or who's been there 100 times or this your first time. You always feel like it's part. Because when I came in this morning, and everybody boosting, hey, that was like, go. I'm like, oh, I'm more out, and they're like, nah, bro, you better hit that bag. Like everybody supporting, everybody motivating, and it's all because of his the way he lined it up for everybody. Like it's a community. I definitely feel like it's a community. So I want to ask you this. We're gonna stick with boxing for a second, but then I got some other stuff. I got this quote from Frank Bruno. It says, "Boxing is the toughest and loneliest sport in the world." Do you agree or disagree?
Yeah. So I never fought professional. I fought amateur. I made it to the team trials, so it's pretty high up there. But when I have a lot of good friends, some people I work with all up on my walls and everything, and all the world champions will tell you when they're winning, you get all the phone calls in the world. Mm-hmm. And when you lose, nobody calls you. When it comes to training, you can't depend on anybody. So we have something called the stable, which is they compare fighters to horses a lot, and that's where that term came from. So you got a stable of fighters, you got a bunch of guys in the gym that you train with all the time, but then you got to go do your road work on your own. You're eating by yourself, and maybe your family is around you and they're eating and they're drinking alcohol or drinking soda or they're doing all these things, and you have to be a disciplined individual at all times. I remember when I was fighting one of my best friends, we used to go out to the club, and 2 weeks before a fight, I stopped drinking. I'd stop having sex with chicks. It didn't matter. Like 2 weeks, I'd shut it down. And we go out partying, and I drink water or club soda legit till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And then we clear it, and we go like, yo, we hungry. We go to Denny's at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'd have a salad and a chicken breast. And he'd look at me and be like, you really gonna eat a salad and chicken breast at Denny's? And I'm like, bitch, didn't I just order that? Like, you see me doing it, and he'll to this day he'll talk about that. And he'll talk about the discipline and the drive and how it motivates him.
That's commitment, like you said. It takes a lot of discipline to do that.
Yeah, it's long.
And I'll tell you this too, though. I feel like with your workouts, after you work out, you be like, I want to eat this, but I just worked out like this. There's no way I'm finna go ahead and eat this piece of whatever, because I burned this over here. I ain't about to, I put in too much work. So that's one of those things where I feel like you work us hard enough to where you be like, you know what? I want to eat this. I want to eat this bad stuff. But I ain't finna go back all through this all over again and try to gain that little bit.
And I mean that's one of the mentalities, and different people have different mentalities. I have friends and clients and members that'll legit look me in their face and they'll be like, I only work out so I can eat. So that they feel like they can eat whatever they want. For them,
yeah,
that goal and they accomplish it by getting in here, is okay. Like, it's all about your own goals, whatever it is you're looking to accomplish and achieve. If that's what you're looking to achieve, then that's cool. Go eat your ice cream and come in here and do 100 push-ups. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because you're gonna look and feel better, at least getting the workout and burning those calories than you would because you can still.
That's right. I would tell me this. With this being a new year, 2021, I'm sure many people had like goals for 2020, but then Corona came, so that definitely, like myself included, I had all these goals, but I couldn't hit the gym like I wanted to, couldn't do the things.
That's an excuse.
Okay.
I've been saying that.
All right. I'm not going to deny, but yes, an excuse, but it happened. I'm not the only person with this. So now for 2021, what advice would you give somebody that want to get back on track?
The same thing I would have said in 2019. Stop making excuses.
So what they got to do?
Stop making excuses.
And do what though? What they got to do?
Something.
What?
Something.
What's the something?
Anything.
Well, come on. I mean,
That's the key to my philosophy. You know, somebody asked me about working out and training, and I already told you about like the overkill mentality of a fighter, but also the idea I learned from hearing the story about Roberto Duran, who was renowned for blowing up and putting weight on and having to drop 30, 40, 50, 60 pounds in between fights. And I read a story about him coming into the gym and just working the bag nice and light, super overweight. And somebody asked him, and they're like, well, how you going to take all this weight off working out like that? And he's like, my first day back. Like, shit didn't come on overnight and it's not going to come off.
That's real.
So I come from the mentality that, the philosophy that I tell people, it's better to walk than sit on the couch. It's better to walk 3 blocks than 2. It's better to jog 5 than walk 3. It's better to run a marathon than jog 3. You know, like, to me, always more is better. And one of the best advice I can tell people is listen to your body, because a lot of people come out the gates like a racehorse, and they wind up sitting in the stands like a fan. So they come out super hard. I'm gonna work out every day of the week, and I'm gonna diet, and I'm gonna do this, and you just burn yourself out before. It's like putting a whole bottle of lighter fluid on a candle.
You burn out too quick.
Yeah, so I tell them less is more sometimes when you first start. If you're trying to break into something, instead of coming 5 days a week, listen, if you want to come 5 days a week, I'm not gonna tell you don't. But instead of coming 5, come 3, and dying to come those 2 extra days. And you let yourself have those 2 days so that it builds that desire to do more. And then when you got that desire, the next day you're going to come in and do more. And then you build that desire. So I always tell people to curb their enthusiasm at first. And as far as achieving your goals, you got to set yourself up for success. So I would say for 2021, come up with some long-term goals. Give yourself a year, and come up with some short-term goals along the way to keep you motivated, so you can have little successes. Because if you tell yourself, well, I want to lose 50 pounds by next December, that's cool. But then if it comes March and April and you only lost 8, you feel bad, like you're never going to get there. So set yourself up for little goals. All right, I want to lose 50 pounds by December. By April, I want to lose 5. Even make them underachievable goals. Like, it's almost impossible to not reach that goal. You know, when it comes to doing a workout, the thing it does for people is physically you have a dump of endorphins. So there's something called a runner's high. It could be any exercise. When you're doing physical fitness or physical activity for 20 minutes in a row, your body starts to produce endorphins, dopamine, serotonin, epinephrine, norepinephrine. And serotonin, the big one, that's the happy hormone. It's the same thing you get from drinking or doing drugs. Makes you feel good. 20 minutes of exercise, your body produces that naturally. So when you got that is physical. That's a physiological result of exercise. Then you have the mental aspect. You wake up in the morning, you tell yourself, I'm going to go work out today. I'm going to go to Flaco's class today. Shit, I'm going to go to LA Fitness and do a step class. I'm going to walk around the corner. I don't care what it is. Tell yourself you're going to do something. You get up, you do it, and you finish, you have a psychological boost of confidence that you set a goal and you achieve. Mm-hmm. And so it's a double-sided attack at your own well-being. So those are some of the little tips that I would give people trying to achieve something like that.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Hold on. Gotta check on the recording. Okay, this one's good. Gotta move this one.
Good. Still.
You good? Just checking on you.
Yeah,
just
no,
making
she's
sure.
good. That's because Irv hasn't heard me go 30 minutes without cracking a joke.
It's coming. I got you.
I had
It's
Flaco.
coming.
You good?
It's coming. So, how did you transition from a nurse to becoming an entrepreneur and becoming boxing trainer?
There was a couple of other transitions before that. So like, just growing up in Brooklyn, just running around the streets, and I was blessed enough to always value education, and I always went to school, mm-hmm. and I was the type of person that my environment had a very negative effect on my mentality. Being like raised like hanging out outside and doing things that maybe I wouldn't be too proud of, or I wouldn't want, not even that I wouldn't be too proud of it, because it's my story, so I'm proud of my story, but I wouldn't want my children doing some of the things I did. But it taught me a lot of lessons. And I was blessed enough to have a solid home base, a solid family structure. My mother, my father, I lived in a nice house. My reasons for being outside was different than some people really had to be. And I went from always in school, like I was the type of kid that like I'd bring home C's, but when it came to testing, I was always the highest level of testing. Mm-hmm. And I'm a white-skinned Puerto Rican, so the government is always looking for minorities that do well on standardized testing and things. And I got invited for every program they had in New York, and I passed everything intellectually, but I always failed out when they looked over my conduct. That shit still happens today. So I was blessed. When I was 18, I had scored, back when we took the SATs, I don't know if you took the SATs.
Yeah.
It was 1,400 was the highest you could score. Okay.
Yeah.
So I scored an 1110 without bringing a calculator.
That's what's up.
And hanging out with some homeboys on the way to the test. So that actually meant that I was anything over 1,100, you were guaranteed acceptance to any. I was in New York, any SUNY school, State University of New York. So that was a 4-year college. And it wasn't even my guidance counselor, but one of the guiding counselors at the school knew my family because my older sister had gone to the same school. And he pulled me aside and he's like, Flock, like, so what you gonna do? And I'm like, oh, I'll probably go to like BMCC or something, which was the Irv and Community College, which was like just the place where all the homies was going. The homies that went to college was going. And he was like, kind of like verbally like smacked me like, psh, no you're not. He's like, no you're not. He's like, you gonna sit here right now with me and you gonna apply to at least 3 4-year schools because you're guaranteed acceptance. So I went to Baruch College, which was the business school in New York, which is a really dope business school. And actually, I was gonna say how I transitioned into boxing. Boxing was the first thing. So because of like the way I walk and the way I talk, they what do you call it? And when they give you homework, they assigned me to I had to go to the student government and talk to them, and it was the president was this cute blonde chick. And I pulled up, and I'm talking to her, and I'm doing this like little report, and we're kicking it, and like, yeah, so how do you get in on the student government? And she's like, well, you got to go through election, but the president and the senate is elected when the presidential election is up, and then once that comes up, if somebody drops out, basically we vote a new senator in. And she's like, actually, one of the senators had dropped out, so if you want, and I'm like, well, when is the election? She's like, well, today we're doing a vote with the meeting. If you want to come through, I can say. And actually, like, she talked me into being on the student government, like, my freshman year, like, really less than 6 months. And she was way cuter than me. She was way cuter than me. And they gave it was an $80 a month stipend to be on the student government. And what I learned from that was how the clubs worked. The student government was really in charge of all the student body and the clubs. Mm-hmm. So that was cool. So then I realized that the student government was the one who set the budgets for the clubs. Mm-hmm. So at the time, I was boxing with my homie in the neighborhood. He was a retired professional. That's where I started, like literally in the middle of the street in Brooklyn is where I started boxing. Like none of these cute gyms, no like graffiti was like real graffiti on the wall. Like, right. And so a couple of semesters in, I decided, like, all right, guys, like, I'm going to leave the student government. So I left the student government and I opened up my own boxing club. So when I did that, all my homies now were on the student government fighting the budget. So now I got my budget approved because I had the inside track on the student government. Smart. So that was my first boxing business. And then I used to pay my homie to come and teach the class. And then, doing this for a minute. And then he'd go home and split it with me. Yeah, you've been doing this for a minute. So that was the first thing. So again, talking about like schooling and the right things to do, the bad things to do. I actually failed out. I got put on academic probation from Baruch College. So I left Baruch College and I went to cooking school. And I graduated cooking school with a culinary arts certificate. And then I went into cooking. So I cooked for like 6 years. And that was all in New York, and then I came down to Florida. So when I came to Florida, I was still cooking, and then I was pursuing my career as a potential fighter, like I wanted to be a fighter. And I just loved the training. I was really just addicted to the training. I started boxing when I was 19, so maybe some of these kids have like dreams, or some of these like older guys have dreams of being like world champion. And I was more of a realist, and I'm like, man, I was just a thug that wanted to fight better. So I started boxing, and I realized through boxing, like little by little, like I stopped smoking weed, I stopped drinking, I was never into cigarettes. And I realized like when I first started, I'd be sitting with my trainer, we'd be like puffing the hell, like drinking a 40, and like I put some gloves on, teaching me a little boxing, and then we just looked like two thugs in the middle of the streets just swinging at each other with gloves on, like no headgear, no mouthpiece, Tim's on, like going on. But I realized if I didn't smoke, I had reflexes. If I didn't drink, I was faster. And if I ran, I felt better. And so little by little, to me, boxing saved my life. So I started to put down all of the negative things in my life and focus on everything that made me feel good. So before, all of the substances, I was looking for that serotonin and that epinephrine and that norepinephrine and that dopamine stopped coming from something outside of me and started coming from something inside. So that was the real addiction for me. That was the thing that really brought me into boxing. And like, to me, it's why like maybe so many people chase being world champion. I just love my little gym. Like, I'm cool with my little gym. I'm cool with sharing what I do with everybody else. I'm cool with having my little team of youth. Some of them want to be world champions, and in 6 years we fought for 13 world titles. I've been involved with some of the really biggest, baddest names on the block, and so I can help lead them there. They have the dedication and the commitment, and just running through my course. And the thing is that like for me getting a world champion, the success that would come from building a world champion myself is equivalent to the success of seeing a young man come in who's shy and maybe got bullied, and see him come out of his shell and stand up for himself like a man on his own too. It is equivalent. There's no difference. You know, I'm not, God bless, I'm not searching for that glory. I'm okay with just being that little guy on the block.
That's what I guess I asked you to elaborate a little bit, because that was kind of going into my next question was, I see you really work hands-on with a lot of these with the youth. Like, where did that come from? Like, why is that so important to you?
I mean, it's, first of all, to be completely honest, and it takes nothing away from loving my youth, but I mean, monetarily, that youth program is money. I mean, so there's a niche, there's a community in need, which is both parents and youth looking to put something in there and have a positive effect on their kids.
Yeah, but I'm talking about, I see you like on the side of the ring, and you go hard.
Yeah, that's my program, because I expect the most. I teach, so this is Flaco's community gym. It's always Supreme Team Boxing. That's the name of my team. And I teach them to always strive. And I've taught it to my daughter, and my daughter at one point was ranked #2 in South Florida for figure skating. She's in competitive dance. She's at Bonnie's strength and speed program. She's looking to go into the track and field. She's on the honors program. But not only do I teach them to be supreme inside the gym, I also ask them to be that same person outside the gym. Meaning that they should have high grades, they should have high quality character. You know, these kids talk to me about all of the things going on in their lives. I mean, it's a boxing gym, so it's mostly men, but I get some girls too. So they talk to me about women, they talk to me about girls, they talk to me about how they feel. And a lot of times, the appearance that I give off is very different from the message that I send these kids. You know what I'm saying? And so I've had parents contact me. I have 4 or 5 kids on my team whose parents have contacted me on the verge of pulling them out the program. And to me, and I credit this to my schooling and my child development classes, and my psychology classes that I was required to take in the nursing program, that helped me as a coach to really understand what's going on. And I can talk to these parents and say, like, well, here's the thing. It's proven, statistically proven, that positive reinforcement works better than negative reinforcement. Meaning that giving you a prize works better than taking something you value away. So I tell the parents, like, let's holler at them together. Let's sit down and tell them, like, all right, you want probation. If you love this boxing thing like you say, you about to lose it. You. Your mother ain't taking it away. Your father ain't taking it away. Actually, because I talked them out of it. Mm-hmm. So here's what we gonna do. You got a month to bring your scores up. You ain't gotta get an A. But you gotta get at least a D. Come up to get a D. Right. You stay. And believe it or not, these kids find the confidence that somebody believed in them enough. Right. And give them a shot. You know, and
that can be life-changing too.
I've had nothing but positive results.
But my next question too is, because you kind of alluded about your daughter. Now, you said all the great things she's doing sports-wise. If she wanted to get into boxing, would you support that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, both my daughters, I have 2 of them. Both of them know how to throw punches since they're little kids. They was born and raised in the gym, literally. When they came out the house, they were born into the gym, and I teach them how to throw their hands. Now, I wouldn't call me a sexist if you like, but I don't want my little girl getting punched in the face. She got to learn how to defend herself, protect us maybe once or twice, but I'm not going to push her to compete as if maybe I would have had her son. Maybe I would. I wanna believe in myself enough to say that if that's something they would want, I would help guide them in the right direction. But it's not something I would push them to do.
I got you.
The sport of boxing is amazing, and the trauma you get from getting hit is one thing. That's a very negative aspect of the sport. But what parents and people don't realize, especially when I got the youth in here, the drills I'm making them do and the movements I'm making them do with boxing, you gotta move one foot and one hand, move your head one way, your hand the other way. You're actually building pathways in your brain. The younger they start, the more pathways they have, and they just become so much more advanced than the other kids mechanically. So it's really a great sport to get them involved in.
That's dope. I want to get my boys in. Just got to make time. That's on me, so I can't really. I got to make time. I have one question that I cannot leave this interview without asking this. What's the story behind these Timbs, man? You come in the gym every day. Now I ain't saying the same Timbs. I'm just saying like you come in with Timbs on. What's the story behind the Timbs?
You want to hear the truth?
The truth, man. Tell the people the truth, man. The people want to know.
Ass kicking reasons for all seasons. Absolute truth. Absolute truth. I would rock Timbs and sneakers, and actually, I had this little Wallaby phase.
Okay.
The Wallabies
yeah,
are
come on.
the
This
Wu-Tang, the Wallabies, the soft suede, the gum sole. Everything's just so ugly, but so comfortable.
Yeah, nah.
It's so comfortable, right?
Yes.
And I was in the snow, chilling, and I got into a fist fight. And I dropped this kid with a punch, boom. He fell down on the floor, hands and knees, and I kicked him in his mouth. Nothing happened. I threw them shits right in the garbage. Whenever you kick a nigga in his mouth with Timbs on, you knock at least 4 teeth out. And when I kicked this kid in the mouth, my fucking shoe bounced off like a rubber mallet. Threw them shits in the garbage. I ain't never wearing nothing but Timbs.
This ain't gonna work
for me.
Say your word.
Carry your tools at all times.
Gonna have to edit that.
Nah, that got to stay in. Nah, because I was wondering. I was like, I know it has to be a story behind it.
It's the truth.
Because like,
I swear to God,
you come in.
I can tell you the kid I kicked. I can tell you.
Crazy.
I can tell you where I was. I lost a diamond earring that night. I was so mad at those fucking shoes.
What kind of shoes were they? Like,
Wallabies.
Wallabies.
Navy blue Wallabies, dog.
Oh,
Kicked them
hard.
with rubber the shit.
Hard.
The low tops.
You
and
can't
joints.
kick nobody with it. You probably heard it toe.
Man. I was so upset.
They fresh though. They definitely fresh though. You definitely can't kick nobody with it.
No.
Go ahead, Amanda. You know I'm about to keep going, but I want to.
Oh my goodness. If you had 4 words to describe yourself, what would it be?
4 words to describe myself.
Let that marinate in your spirit.
Brooklyn till I die.
baby. Well, I know we short on time, so I'm gonna run these 2 questions from you real quick. I know being an entrepreneur is certainly it's hard work, but I know you've been doing a lot so far. Do you feel like would you consider your business a success thus far?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm blessed. So businesses, something like 80% of businesses go out of business the first 2 years, and another 50% of businesses go. 50% of businesses go out of business within 5 years. That's supposed to be the moment. So after 5 years, you're supposed to, like, you know, I told the story about having to work 36-hour days, and really, man, my quality of life was bad. Like, I had all the things in the world. I bought myself a Lexus. I had a nice car. My family had food. I didn't have to worry about nothing. But I got into 2 car accidents, falling asleep. Yeah, coming from work. Not drinking, not bugging, not chilling, like falling asleep. Like, and when you talk to people who have done overnight shifts, done these doubles, done things like that, you'll hear stories about people being like, yeah, yo, I would just look forward to a red light so I can take a little nap. Like legit pulling up the red lights. Okay, good.
I know that feeling.
And so my quality of life was way down. And about 3 years ago, I stopped nursing, and I put all of my energy into my business. And my first year going to my accountant, and he looked at me and he said, "Flock, you know you had a 40% increase in your business last year? That is unheard of." And my next year after that, he said, "Yo, Flock, what happened? You only had a 30% increase this year on top of my 40. So in 2 years, I put 70% up in my numbers. So I realized, like, with a full commitment of my energy, I could really grow my business. And that's where I'm at. And if you've been a member here, you've seen everything from the walls to the floors, to the radios, to the clientele, to the ring. You see everything upgraded. That's another thing I do. I spend a lot of money reinvesting in my gym because this is what feeds me.
Okay.
So one of my best friends years ago told me, Flock, why you don't do what you know? And so at the point of becoming an entrepreneur and you're doing these things, a lot of people will approach you for many different things. And a lot of times I'm like, I'm going to just kind of stick to what I know. And I'll branch out from there. And I'll stem things off of my business or related to my business. But I'm going to stick to what I know and what feeds my family. So yeah, God bless. I got a roof over my head, food on my table. My daughters go to dance lessons and conditioning gyms and gymnastics and God bless. My wife is there helping me out and I can support my family, then yeah, I consider that success.
That's dope. So what
Keep going.
Oh, my fault. So what do you see Flaco, or what do I see Flaco and FCG in the next 5 years?
I'd like to move forward. I'm developing my amateurs along. So my dream is not just to have one kid in the Olympics, but I'd like to have the entire team represented by the gym, by the fighters that I've raised up, to really show that everybody could have shades of the same style and everybody can look really different at the same time, and yet still look the same. As far as business-wise, I'd like to see all of my classes full, at all the times. Like, that'd be cool. I'm not one that really wants to franchise my business out. I'm kind of happy with my one small, really authentic gym, and just expand my members, my base, for notoriety. Like I said, bringing my fighters around. That's all I'm looking to do, is just mature as an individual and treating my gym as though as if it was a child. So having my gym grow as an individual itself too.
All right. And like I say, tell the people how they can find you. I got your social media, but let the people know what's the best way they can find Flaco and how they can get to join the gym, be part of the community.
All right, cool. Thank you very much. So simple website's the easiest, www.flacoscommunitygym.com. So that's FCG, right? Flaco's Community Gym, FCG. That's what it stands for. You can find us on social media, at the _FCG. You can find me, Flaco5125. Those are on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook, Flaco's Community Gym, and that's about it. You can pull up any given day of the week. You can pull up at the gym, 4419 Hollywood Boulevard, Hollywood, Florida, 33021. You can give us a call, 833-2, number 2, and box FCG, BOX FCG, 833-226-9324. Dope. Easiest ways to do it.
Dope. And before we leave, we always leave with a quote. And because we're in a boxing gym, I feel like it only makes sense for me to have a quote from a boxer, one of my favorites. All right, so let me see if you can tell me who said this. I hated every minute of training, but I said don't quit. Suffer now and live the rest of your life as a champion. Ali, one of my favorites. Who's your favorite boxer?
Roy Jones Jr.
Really?
His prime, Roy Jones Jr., man.
So I know you felt away when you saw the Tyson and Roy Jones fight.
Yeah, I was happy 2 old men got in there and made some money.
Who you think really won though? You think it was a tie, or you think somebody won? I think it was
an exhibition, man. I think those guys did what they did. I thought they put on a good show. It was fun to watch, It was cool.
So you're not gonna say somebody won and somebody lost? I know you saying it's an exhibition. Somebody had, like, come on, let's be serious.
Boxing is like any of the sports. It's very subjective. So You're the type of guy that likes to see boxing and likes to see people moving and not getting hit, setting traps and ring gentlemanship. You can use that. There's the other type of boxing judge that likes to see aggression, effective aggression, damage of punches, power punches versus the speed of punches versus the output. It all goes on people's opinion. To me, it wasn't a fight; it was an exhibition.
Okay, I gotta respect that. I gotta respect that. I'm more of I'm a novice, so I can't like you're a pro. So I would say I would have went Mike Tyson, but I'm a Tyson fan. Like my favorite two boxers are Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson.
So who would have won Tyson versus Ali?
Ooh, and they prime. Oh man,
you gotta think.
I'm gonna go Muhammad because I know Muhammad had more lengthy fights than Tyson did. So
who gave Muhammad the hardest time?
George Foreman. No,
Knocked George Foreman out.
I know, but look at me. What he had to go through.
Frazier.
Joe Frazier. I mean,
Gave him the hardest time. Broke his jaw even when he won.
I don't know. I
Beat him.
Yeah.
He actually beat him.
Yeah.
Who Joe Frazier fight like? Philly Shell, a short, aggressive hook. Coming
So
at
you
him
think
hooking.
we won? Why you gonna ask me?
Because at the same time, you look at the flip side and who gave Tyson in his prime the most trouble? Long, tall boxers that use their jab. So both guys were the epitome of what gave the other fighter trouble.
Okay, well tell me this though. Explain this now. I'm not, like you said, you're a purist when it comes to boxing. Do you think it's fair to have somebody who's 5'5" fight somebody who's 6'2"? Just because they got the same weight class?
Shit, the other day we had a 152 pounder who was 6'6". Fight a 152 pounder who was 6'1".
I still think it's like you don't have the reach. Like you can't reach this dude. Like
Yeah, but you don't have the girth either. You look at like power and what the guy can do. It's different body types. That's what makes it so dope. I mean, you gotta at some point have rules, and then like what? You're gonna have like 100 different belts, like 6 foot and up, 200 pounds and up, or below 6 foot between 150. Like it's too much.
I feel
You put the weight class and you put strength in those long, tall, lanky guys versus a short guy that's the same weight. Like something's got to give.
I just feel like when Mike Tyson fought Holyfield or when he fought Lennox Lewis, the height just he couldn't really get to those guys. Like those guys, every time he got his close,
he was just the shade of the man he was. You
That's
gotta look
true,
at he fought guys like Mitch Green, Trevor Burbick, Jose Torres. All those guys are 6'2", 6'4", same height as the guys he lost to. It's just a different time, a different training, and he did his thing.
All right, well, we keep going on boxing, but I appreciate you for taking
My
the
brother,
time.
thank you for having us.
to
Irv
come
and
in
Company
with Irv and Co.
Podcast, man. Chill in, check in, and check him out, man. This dude's a cool dude. He just can't do too many push-ups.
Oh, he gonna end like that. That's how we gonna do it. Irv and Co. Irv and Co. Flaco just shined on me. Irv and Co. You check that out. Y'all have a good one. We'll see
Later,
y'all
y'all.
next one for sure.